of a sudden say, okay, this is not working here in the birdseed. These are gills here, gills. See, no. He needed intervention from his owner who knew what was best for him. And America needs divine intervention. We need God's help. Now, in our last message, we saw how God turned an entire nation around. Nineveh, one of the most wicked countries on the face of the planet. They were renowned for their violence and cruelty. Yet, despite the fact of a pretty weak message from the original chicken of the sea, the prophet Jonah, they turned to the Lord in mass and repented of their sin, and God spared them and extended their days. Could the Lord do that for America? I believe he could. Have we ever had a revival in this country before? Yes, we have, as a matter of fact. In fact, we have had a number of them. The first Great Awakening happened in the 1700s. This was pre-Revolutionary War. It was led by such men as Jonathan Edwards and George Whitefield. And during just 2 years of this revival, from 1740 to 1742, some 25 to 50,000 people came to faith in Christ. Now, that may not seem like an impressive number until you consider the fact that the population of that time was only 300,000. The first Great Awakening. The second Great Awakening was from the 1790s to 1840, and this was led by many, including Charles Finney. This was a time when the Wild West was prevalent, the law was disregarded, sexual sin was rampant, and they started having what they called camp meetings. You've heard of the Sawdust Trail, right? They would set up these camps out in the middle of the woods that would be attended by thousands of people. They didn't have modern communication. Nobody was updating their Facebook page or sending out tweets about where the meetings were, but yet thousands and thousands of Americans attended these meetings, and many came to faith. Now, the third Great Awakening was 1857 to 1859. How this revival began is unique. It started with a man named Jeremiah Lanphier. He was 48 years old. He was a businessman in New York City. There in Fulton Street, he had a burden for his city and his country, and he started a prayer meeting. Initially, it was attended by only a handful, but then the stock market crashed, and soon his meeting was overflowing with praying New Yorkers, and soon the city was filled with people praying every day at lunchtime. The theaters on Broadway were filled with Christians praying for the city and for the nation. Within 6 months, 10,000 people were gathering together daily for prayer in New York City. Can you imagine such a thing? It's reported that 50,000 New Yorkers were converted from March to May. And during that single year, the number of reported conversions through the country reached an average of 50,000 a week for a couple of years. When it was all said and done, some 1 million people came to faith. And it all began with Jeremiah Lanphier in his little prayer meeting. And I bring that up to point out